What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Grind Chronicles. This is a special episode of my $10 to 10K challenge. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm doing here actually, and how our journey went so far, and how I project it will be going, like my goals and yeah, stuff like this. So let's start with a general disclaimer. You should always check for the timestamp, like the timestamps I leave in every video, because of course I'm recording everything I'm playing, and it can be tiresome or boring, and like most of the time it's ABC play. So unless you really want to get a grip of how this game works, then I would kind of recommend, watch every video, because you will just 100% see how I play. And right now we are probably a winning player. Maybe just variance is very good, so you never know in a tiny sample size. I think my sample size so far, after slightly below 3 weeks, so it's 2 weeks and 4 days now that we played. My sample size is around 1000 sit and goes. We are up, let me show you. We are up to 10x our starting bankroll, almost exactly 100 euros, 101. This is the graph we had, and here you can see our hourly winning rate also increasing because our buy-ins are increasing and our possible return on investment is increasing. So if we invest more and we are crushing the game, of course we will get more out of it per hour. But like I said, 1000 sit and goes may sound a lot if you're not familiar with poker. But in terms of variance, it's a tiny sample, meaning luck can factor in heavily. So if we run good, meaning we had a lot of luck during these 1000 samples, that means we are up because mostly of luck, or maybe only because of luck. So while it's still an indication that we are up 10x, that we are crushing the game, it could still be because of luck, especially in these spin and golds where you have a kind of random, it's still, there's a distribution which is kind of predictable, but kind of random price pool. That's a big factor of luck. Then it depends how bad are your opponents. If they make massive mistakes, that's also a factor of luck, which probably will not happen in every game. So if you're lucky there and had much more fish than you usually have on average, that affected our game in a positive way. And then of course the main thing that everybody thinks about when they think about variance in poker is like your hand distributions versus the hands your opponents are getting and how they play. So, well, of course it doesn't help us if you get aces against kings, but they get a king in the all-in situation on the flop and hold. So this again, these three factors amount to a massive ball of variance. Still, I think we are crushing. Like crushing is a nice word, like saying we kind of have an advantage over the field. Maybe we are not really crushing, but just running good and kind of slightly above average. And that could definitely be true. I don't even say I believe that's not the case, and we are definitely crushing. So something in between there probably. Yeah, that's the one part. And so long story short, I'm recording every hand to give full transparency to this challenge. And of course there are a lot of boring hands, so I'm always including timestamps. You should skip to them, and maybe just a summary at the end and some interesting hand spots I'm marking in the timestamps. And then that's it. Would really appreciate it. And if you're interested in that stuff, please subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment and like this video. Yeah, so, and regarding how I want to continue this challenge, so I had in mind I might start adding in $1 tournaments, because right now we're just focusing on sit and goes. As soon as my roll reaches $100, or in this case slightly above, because 101 euros is probably 105, 106 US dollars. The thing is, tournaments take a long time. The nice thing about these sit and goes is it's short. I can kind of stop immediately, like The longest one, spin and gold, probably takes us 20 minutes, usually less time. And a tournament can end up taking 8 hours. It's a great experience if you make it to the final table through a field of more than 1,000 players, but it's very unlikely and it's a lot of time investment. So I'm probably still sticking for a while to the spin and goes, especially as long as I feel we have a good edge and kind of beating the game and most of the players. So that's the plan for now. I really want to reach a bankroll where I can play the $3 and maybe even the $5 spin and golds. I want to be conservative because even with the $1, I could feel it in the last session. Variance is crazy. Like, just look at this difference: 18 euros up one session and the next one 6 euros down. And if we have like more than these, like 3 or 4 sessions consecutive where we're $6 or more down, then our bankroll is already reduced by 20, 30, 40, 50%. And we would have to step down in our buy-ins. So I want to stick longer to the $1 and probably add on the $3 as soon as we have 60 buy-ins, meaning that would be 180 euro bankroll. But I'm not playing 4 table $3, I would just add on 1. And when we got, I don't know, 182, 203, 220, something like that, I'm playing 4 table. I also have to see, like, players will be better there will be less fish, and it will be tougher. I don't even know if you still beat these games. So I really have to be careful. I really don't want a big downswing where we have to step back and it's taking our challenge. Like it's a setback of 1 or 2 or 3 weeks of playing. I really want to avoid this. I already put in a lot of time. Yeah, that's a lot of rambling, but that's the general path I'm trying to take just now. Maybe once in a while I might start a tournament session, just the lowest buy-ins, just for fun, to have some diversity, but it will definitely not be a regular thing. I don't have the time. I don't have the role to play the interesting tournaments, so we can only play $1 right now, and even that is high variance because tournament poker already also brings a lot of variance. If you don't know that word and you're like, what was he talking about, just Google poker variance. There are some very interesting things to know about it, and it's crazy if you look deep into it. It means like you can be a winning player with a high expectation of return. So let's say you're a 30% ROI, return on investment player, and you play 2,000 tournaments in a row. There's still a chance you just lose money, even though your expected win rate is 30% of what you invested. It's a high chance, actually, like high meaning probably above 5 to 10%. And so, yeah, we have to keep that in mind at all times. The leaderboard is an interesting thing. It really helped me boost my bankroll. You can see the biggest boost we had here, where I just doubled my bankroll because we finished in the leaderboard and got around $20. And here's another one. It's big, a good session from here to here, and before that another $20 leaderboard. But the bigger our bankroll grows, the less a leaderboard finish affects our roll, our bankroll. So the focus this week will not be much on the leaderboard. I plan on, if I find the time, like one crazy grind week where I'm trying to get $50 return, especially if you're not doing too well and kind of staying around the 100 euro mark. Then maybe next week I can do a full grind just for leaderboard. But let's see. It always depends on how your competitors, so to speak, are doing this week. Are they putting in the grind or not? So again, high variance. Yeah. But thank you very much generally for being interested in this challenge and following my stuff. I also have a poker blog. I want to link it in the descriptions. I'm also adding like this sheet. Some people asked for it. I think it's good for GGPoker where you kind of have to track your stuff manually. So it's based on LibreOffice, which is a free Office suite. It's open source. I always prefer open source over closed source, even though I think the Microsoft solutions that cost some money, I don't even know, are probably better these days. But I guess you can argue, yeah, just a tiny side note on that. What else is there? Yeah, there's other things. So let me just make this what you would call a summary video, and then I start with my real video. We can go here, so we have the full screen of me. I think it's easy to beat low stakes if you have some foundation how to play most spots. If you don't deviate from it, which is hard if you're not used to it, you will be, oh, he's raising the third time now. I have ace-6, how can I fold here again? He's probably just totally abusing me, like, and then you call and he shows up with ace-king and you're like, what is going on? So what I mean is, you need to have the experience to really stick to the game plan that you learned. But if you have a solid game plan, meaning pre-flop ranges and pre-flop calling ranges, you probably can already beat the 25 cent and $1 spin and golds, especially with all the spewy crazy players that just put in all the chips with random hands like jack deuce suited, I don't know, king 5 off. I see this all the time. There's a lot of our value comes from them, to be honest. And then yeah, I think that part is kind of easy. You can get there probably with 1 or 2 weeks of intensive studying, or a longer time if you only have 1 or 2 hours to invest into studying per day. I also want to include some book recommendations into my video descriptions. But the main factor that causes many people to stay in the recreational side and not becoming pro or semi-pro, like semi-pro meaning you do it as a side job but you still have kind of an income stream from poker, is the mind game. And like I said, I have a MTT background, never was a spin and go player, or also not a cash game player. I checked all different formats for a while, but I stick to MTTs. So I'm used to playing, you can't even believe the amount of games and hours I put in my crushing days. And still I would have a month like playing 1,500 tournaments or more, and I'm losing money at the end. And it happened like every year, once, twice, or 3 times. All the other months were winning and the total amount was great. But just imagine you play 50, 60, 70 hours per week for a full month, and then you got less money than you had before. It kind of, you can imagine it's not easy on the mind. And I also struggled. I'm not saying like, oh, it was easy, like, oh, well, doesn't matter to me. Not at all. It was really hard. But I think I kind of always had the bigger picture in mind, and that helped a lot. And I also had the experience that's just part of poker, and I read the statistics and the science behind it. So I knew, okay, that's just part of the game. And I think this is what separates the pros from the recreational players. And it's also what makes it so hard to become a poker pro. I don't know about variance in cash game. I think it's also very high. You need hundreds of thousands of hands to have a stable, like, to be quite sure that you're actually a winning player, and also to crush variance. But just experiencing negative variance a lot in a row, which will eventually happen if you play a lot. If you're lucky, it doesn't happen immediately, and it doesn't happen maybe for a long time. But then just imagine you're winning, you build a roll, like let's say you turn your $10 to $500, and then the bad variance sets in. It's easy to go down a spiral, to come to a point where you're like doubting everything you're doing, even though you knew it kind of worked, but then you're like, did something change, or am I cursed? Is the game rigged? All that stuff. And it will affect your game. Maybe not a lot in the beginning, but it's kind of a compounding thing. So to go through these phases, which can maybe, depending on how much time you put in per day and how much you study, and it can take weeks, months, If you only play like 1 hour every second day, it could take a year. If you only play live poker and only get in like 200, 300, 400 tournaments, it can take 2, 3, 4 years, your bad run. And I think dealing with that, for a normal human, it's just human, it's almost impossible. So unless you have a great coach, a great life, like where you have some stability, I don't know, with friends and family and supporting people in your life, and you kind of healthy, I think, because like, yeah, it's a big topic, but I think also like general health plays into your mental health and back and forth. It's very complex. I'm not saying, oh, just because you're healthy, your mental game will be good, but if your general health is bad, it's more difficult to stay on a top mental level. Some people do it, but I'm just saying it's a factor. So there's so much to it, and chances of you without the experience, just getting in the hands, seeing the variance a few times to be able to get through that is very low. So all I'm saying is keep that in mind. You heard it now from me, from experience. You will hear it from almost any professional poker player. I'm not professional anymore at all, but that had the experience and that got through that. In my opinion, it's probably the biggest part of poker nowadays. Sure, you need a great foundation of how to play in certain spots, but without the mental game, you will just self-sabotage. And I'm not saying this in a blaming way. It's more like that's human nature, and it's really hard to escape it unless you have some great measures to counteract that. And I might want to go into detail, like what I would suggest you do to prevent this from happening. Yeah, but that's it for now. I just wanted to give a summary, some general ideas on this challenge and on poker. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. If you have any suggestions or are interested in more details about certain topics, please let me know. This is not going to be an intro to a normal session. I will start a session soon now, but this is just a special video, like celebrating our 10x, our $100 bankroll we have now over a course of, I think, 50 hours of playing. Yeah, we are almost exactly at 51 hours here. Yep. So, yeah. Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Share this with your friends that may be aspiring poker pros. And leave a comment, leave a like. I really appreciate it. And have a great day. Keep crushing. See you soon. Bye-bye.